All right. We have two. I mean, there's one topic, React Redux. Okay. Um, the first one is React Redux library. As you guys can tell from the naming of this library is basically the package name is Redux. Okay, but React Redux is basically built a library that was created for React applications only. And for some other MVC or some other libraries, there might be other names, Angular Redux or something like that. Okay, but Redux is the actual library for all of the Node.js or other applications. And React Redux, just like the React Strap, right? Bootstrap for React applications, the same thing. React Redux library. The purpose of this library is it is the official library for integrating Redux with React. Okay, so why do we actually need the Redux? Redux is creating a centralized a state management tool. Okay, it provides utilities to access and manage the Redux store from React components. We need this library to be able to connect a Redux store, right? Centralized state management tool, our centralized state. We need to connect that state to React applications, and we need this library to do that. Okay. Key features of React Redux is it connects our React components to Redux store, simplifies accessing and updating state in React components, offers hooks, right? These hooks, use selector and use dispatch, are coming from React Redux library itself. And we use these hooks for functional components and they connect higher order components for class components. We don't have to worry about that. The use case for React Redux is we need this library anytime we want to use Redux with React. It acts as the bridge between Redux's state management and React's component tree. By itself, we can use this library, right? By itself, we can use React Redux library to completely implement this Redux logic in our component, in our React application. All right. Originally, we were using React Redux to completely write the whole code from top to bottom and be able to connect our state to React components. But as time passed, React Redux came up with some really cool stuff. And one of them is Redux Toolkit. Redux Toolkit. It is also another package that we need to install, right? We need to install two packages. One of them is React Redux, and the second one is at Redux.js. Was it toolkit? Give me 1 second, guys. Yes, Redux.js/toolkit. These are the two packages that we need to install in our React applications. As we said, React Redux is helpful, right? It's helpful to connect our React components to the Redux store. And Redux Toolkit, the purpose of the Redux Toolkit, it is the official recommended way to write Redux logic. It simplifies the process of creating a Redux store, managing reducers, and handling actions by reducing boilerplate and enforcing best practices. Okay, best practices. Let's read more about this toolkit. Okay, so Redux toolkit. Same website, but this one works on React Redux, and this one is for Redux Toolkit. Installation is very easy. The things that include is good to go. Okay. Why Redux Toolkit is how to use Redux today. Why Redux Toolkit? Why Redux Toolkit is how to use Redux today. What is Redux Toolkit? Redux Toolkit is also known as RTK. If you hear RTK, that's definitely Redux Toolkit. Is our official recommended approach for writing Redux logic. And the @Redux.js Toolkit package wraps around the core Redux package. As we said, the Redux is original package that can work with any type of application, whether it's written in Angular, React, or other applications, right? And contains API methods and common dependencies that we think are essential for building Redux app. If you are writing any Redux logic today, you should be using Redux Toolkit to write that code. That's the whole summary right there. If you are trying to implement Redux in your React applications, the recommended way is to use Redux Toolkit. Okay. Redux Toolkit includes utilities that help simplify many common use cases, including store setup, creating reducers and writing immutable update logic, and even creating entire slices of state at once. All right, what is Redux? The first thing to ask is, what is Redux? Redux is really, very simply, a single store containing a global state. A single store containing a global state. And dispatching, we know how to dispatch actions in our React application because we implemented use reducer or use immer reducer, as you guys can remember, right? Use reducer was taking a reducer function and initial state, and as a result, it was returning a state and dispatch inside an array. And that state was containing a lot of stuff, and dispatch was just a function that takes an action. That action is an object which contains a type, and sometimes it might contain a payload. Right? Depends on what you are trying to pass to the state. Dispatching plain object actions. As we said, this dispatching is exactly the same as that we used in use reducer. We dispatch plain object, that is actions, to the store when something happens in the application. Pure reducer functions looking at those actions and returning immutably updated state. While it's not required, your Redux code also normally includes, okay, we don't have to worry about these guys for now, TypeScript now. What I really care about is immutability. Okay, here's the thing. When we try to make our state, whether it's a use reducer or to update something in the state, especially if it's an object or array of objects, usually we create the deep copy of the object or array of objects and try to manipulate the newly created copy and then push that to the state update, right? And we were able to pass that problem using immer, right? React use immer or immer libraries. Now, with this React Redux Toolkit, everything is included. with that library. All right. When we write some, if we try to implement use reducer with immer, we can either use immer reducer, or we can use produce function that comes with use reducer. Use immer, right? But in this case right here, in previous versions, when there was no Redux toolkit, we were basically creating a deep copy of the state and manipulating the state and returning the next state from our switches. Okay, from our switches right here, we were basically returning for each switch case, we were returning the next state. But with the help, right, with the help of the Redux toolkit, we can avoid those common problems. We can prevent common mistakes. To specifically create slice, it lets us write reducers that use immer library. Now, this immer is actually included with this Redux toolkit. We don't have to install immer library separately. It is basically comes inside the toolkit. All right. To enable writing immutable updates using mutating JavaScript-like syntax, state that value is equal to 1, 2, 3. And this thing by itself lets us save a lot of time and makes our lives much easier, because we don't have to worry about the deep copying and which library to use to deep copy our array of objects or state variables. We just push new objects or basically make some changes to the values in our state directly. As I mean, it may sound like we are directly updating the state, but no, because of the fact that Redux Toolkit uses the immer library under the hood, we are able to do that. All right. It says that the immer library to enable writing immutable updates using mutating JavaScript syntax like this one, with no spreads needed. We don't have to use spread up or spread up result. We don't have to use JSON stringify, JSON parse. It also automatically generates action creator functions for each reducer and generates action type strings internally based on your reducer's name. Finally, it works great with TypeScript. Okay, let's finish up this slide and we'll do a project, right? So again, the key features of Redux Toolkit is also mentioned over here, okay? Configure store, sets up the Redux store with the sensible defaults, creates slice, combines actions and reducers into a single structure, create async thunk, simplifies handling of asynchronous logic, API calls, built-in middleware, automatically includes middleware like Redux thunk for async actions, immutability helpers, uses immer under the hood so we can write mutative code that is actually immutable. And DevTools support automatically integrates with Redux DevTools for debugging. Again, use case for Redux Toolkit is when setting up Redux-based application. It makes creating and maintaining Redux logic easier and more maintainable. The React Redux library and the Redux Toolkit are both tools used to manage state in applications that use Redux, but they serve different purposes and are often used together. We often use these two React Redux library at the same time this React Toolkit, right? In our React applications most of the time together. When to use both together? You almost always use both together in modern Redux applications. As we said, React Redux is used to connect our Redux store to our React components, and Redux Toolkit is used to create and manage the Redux store and the logic in a more streamlined way. Again, it's just a little comparison table. Features, purpose, scope, key utility, boilerplate reduction, async handling. React Redux connects React components to Redux. It's the scope is React specific, right? This library is only for React React applications. It provides a provider, use selector, and connect. Redux Toolkit simplifies Redux logic creation and setup and maintenance, right? Redux not tied to React. Configure store, create slice, and boilerplate reduction. Yes, it definitely saves a lot of time, and it definitely helps us to reduce our code in terms of setting up the typical generic Redux setup. Okay, but this one also has, because of the fact that they have a create async thunk, it helps us to handle some async calls. All right, use React Redux to integrate Redux with React. Use Redux Toolkit to simplify writing and managing Redux logic. They together provide a modern, efficient way to handle state management in React applications. Any questions so far? Shall we implement this Redux in our application?
Yeah, let's create.
Cool. So, as we said, I'll just copy these guys. Okay. Installation for React Redux is pretty straightforward. npm install React Redux. Okay. npm install React Redux. Let's try to install based on this one first. Copy. So I'll bring this guy over here, and in my package.json, looks like I used a couple, use Immer UID, Immer Bootstrap. Cool. npm install React Redux. Cool. We were able to install React Redux. What I would like to do here is we're going to create a counter application. Apparently, I have some routing going on. Okay, main J6. Okay, so what I would like to write here, I will just create too many components. Right in the same line of code, I will just create counter.jsx. Okay, constant count, set count, use state. Okay, for now, let's just use state, and we'll convert that thing to Redux. H1, let's just put the count right over here, and then we'll just put a couple buttons. Button going to be plus, and the other one will be minus. Ooh. On click, set count. All right, set count, count +1. This is going to be minus. And now I have to bring this counter right over here. Now, is it going to work? It will definitely work, right? There's nothing wrong with that. In a typical counter application with useState, this is what we have to do. Now, if I had this count on my FJSX over here, the state, I have to pass this count, right? All of these functions to down to the counter application, and then but that's going to be prop drilling. React Redux helps us to avoid prop drilling, right? That's the whole idea. We would like to have a state, basically a store in a centralized place, and with the help of some hooks, we will be reaching out to the state variables from our Redux into each components that need state, specific state. Cool. Since we installed our React Redux, this, as we said, that React Redux provides us a provider. Now we can either combine, wrap the whole application over here, okay? Just like all other different topics like router, right? The router also had router, and we provided an object called router, okay? And also we do have, for instance, my context that provider, okay? My context that provider, and we were providing some children down here. And with this provider, we were providing the value, okay, like this. The same way, this one comes provider, this is router is coming React Router DOM. The same way, we can wrap the provider with the provider that comes from React Redux. Okay, and we can wrap our counter component. And now this provider, we have to pass a store prop. Okay, we have to pass a store prop, complaining that it's empty. Yeah, so the store that gets state is not a function. Yeah, we'll implement that. Now this store, right? This store, we need to create that store, but we won't be creating this store. For this store, we have to pass a variable called store, or it doesn't matter what you call this the variable name. It can be anything. But this store needs to be created in a different file. It doesn't have to be, right? But not to make it crowded this app.jsx. We would like to separate that logic into its own file. Now, since I'm just working on my counter, it's very small. I will just come down here, okay, in SRC. I'll just put Redux. Okay, inside my Redux, I will create store.js file. All right, store.js file. This is exactly like creating a hooks or use context and putting this logic over here. Okay, but in this case, if I would like to create if I would like to create a store, I have to do constant store is equal to configure store configure. Oh, so here's the thing. Now, this provider comes from React Redux. As we said that React Redux, the recommended way of writing Redux logic is Redux.js toolkit. Now we have to install Redux.js toolkit to do some setup over here inside rstore.js. Because of the fact that it's not giving me any option, right? These guys right here. Where was that? Oh, right here. Configure store, create slides, blah, blah, blah. it's not allowing me to, because it's not installed. So how do we install it? Getting started, come down here. Installation is right over here. npm install React Redux.js toolkit. Oops, come back over here. npm install Redux.js toolkit. All right, since it's installed, everything that I need to create my store will be right over here. Now, configure store, it's coming from Redux.js toolkit. It's a function, okay? It's a function that accepts an object. Just like the dispatch, right? Dispatch is also a function. Dispatch is also a function that accepts an object, and that has a type, right? This object is an action, and it has a type that we would write something in there. Similarly, configure store is a function that accepts an object. Now, inside an object, the only thing we need to put inside this object is reducer. Okay, reducer, basically key is the reducer, and the value would be an object. Now, I will just leave it as it is for now, and I will just export default store. Export default store. Come back here into my FJSX, and I will grab that store that I created inside my redux store.js file. All right, since I have two counters, I will just remove one for now. Now, of course, it's not going to work. It is going to work because we still have a use state inside our counter. Okay, inside our counter, we still have. Cool. So let's go back to our store.js. Now this store, right? This store, as we said, it's a centralized state. Okay, the store is basically a centralized state. Think about our store like this. Okay, think about it as if I can create a circle here. Not sure which one is perfect for creating a circle. Cool. This is my circle, right? This is basically my store. Okay, this is basically my store. But this store might contain some slices. Okay, so this starts from middle. This slice belongs to counter. Okay, this slice belongs to counter, and this slice belongs to something else, right? You name it, anything you can name it, like to-dos, okay, for to-dos application. And right over here, maybe e-commerce, right? Basically, a products application, whatever you name it, it doesn't matter. Basically, we're creating a slice out of our state. And each of these slices, we will create in a separate files. Okay, so basically we have store, the main store that holds every single state that we can imagine. But at the same time, right over here, I would like to create counter slice.js. Okay, you can also create additional stuff like a to-dos slice.js, right? And e-commerce slice.js, or whatever you would like to slice it up your store. And you can slice it up your store unlimited times to add additional state variables. But store by itself is it centralized only one piece, right? Only one piece. With all of these slices, okay, with all of these slices, we can put inside our reducer like this. Counter will come from counter slice that reducer. Okay, eventually we'll have this reducer. At the same time, to-dos is coming from to-dos slice that reducer. But yeah, for now, let me just comment this ones out. It will just keep going like this. But this store will keep all of them in one spot. And if we dispatch some sort of an action, it will find out which reducer it will go. Okay, under the hood, it will find which reducer it will go based on these names that we put into the types. Into our types. Okay. Now, reducer and counter slice. Counter slice, we don't have anything for now. So now we have to create a counter slice inside our counter slice. So to do that, what we need to do, constant counter slice is equal to, and this is going to be create slice. Okay, create slice comes from Redux.js toolkit. Again, this one also accepts an object. Just like configure store, it accepts an object, and it has only one reducer. There's a lot of other stuff to be included in here, but we only worry about this reducer. Okay, counter slice, create slice. Now, create slice is a function that accepts an object. Inside this object, we have to put some key values. We have to put some key values. Okay, so the key, one of them, these actually mandatory keys that we need to put. Name is going to be a counter, okay, and initial state. Initial state is going to be initial state. And now this initial state will be created right over here. Constant initial state, an object. And inside our object, we can either put count is equal to 0 or the value is equal to 0. Let's just put count. Let's just put count because we did count over here and set count. All right, initial value, and now initial state, it comes over here. Basically, initial state is equal to initial state. All right, since both sides are equal, we don't have to put the right side. We can just keep in the initial state. Now, the third required key that we need to put inside create slice is reducers. Reducers are basically the switch elements that we need to put. But of course, it's not going to be switch. Okay. In this case, reducers, this is an object, right? This is an object. Now, as we know that we can put functions, right? The methods inside an objects. So increment. Increment is a key inside our reducers. Now the value is going to be a function. And as a value, as an argument, we accept the state. Now, what do we do with this? What do we do with when we do increment? This state represents this initial state, basically this whole object. You guys remember from use reducer, right?
Set the second.
State dispatch equal to use reducer, and we had reducer function, and we had initial state. Let's assume that is initial state, but this state right here was this initial state, right? Initially, when it first time loads up, that initial state basically assigns to the state. Now, in the next state, something changes in the initial state. This is where we pass, right? This is going to be the previous state. Okay, previous state. and we do something over here. All right. So in terms of increment, as we said that this Redux.js toolkit provides, under the hood, it contains Immer.js library, right? So we can update our state variables directly. So state that count plus is equal to 1. All right. So same thing for decrement. We can put decrement right over here, and it's going to be state that count minus 1. Okay, so now we can just export. All right, we created this counter slice. Export default counter slice. Okay, but what is actually created over here? Let me take a look at counter slice. Console.log, counter slice, and this is the counter slice. Come on, come on. Counter slice. All right, cool. So, or if I can use this counter slice reducer, okay, refresh the application. Counter slice is not defined because we did not save it. Cool. Now, since I'm using counter slice over here, when I create counter slice like this, right, with the create slice, and we provide it as object, and the pertinent details like a name, initial state, and reducers, create slice is creating a counter slice. Now, this counter slice is an object that contains a lot of stuff. It will, under the hood, it will come up with a lot of stuff, as you guys can see right here. Okay, as you guys can see right over here, this console log and counter slice is basically returning these things. Now, these actions right here, is what we need for our dispatching. Right? These actions, when we dispatch something in Redux applications, compared to use reducer, right? In use reducer, we were just typing type, and it was just increment. Use reducer, right? This is use reducer version. But in Redux, this counter slice is as we said, is an object. An object contains an actions object. An actions object has two functions, increment and decrement. These are actions that we can use inside our dispatch in Redux. What we have to do here is that when we try to increment, right, type increment, we need to invoke this function in Redux. This function is basically coming from counter slice, right? Counter slice that actions, and that increment. This is how we invoke this increment. Okay, as you guys can see right here, counter slice, this actions that increment is returning, right? Is returning. The type is counter increment. All right, the type is counter increment, and the counter is grabbing this name from here, from this name. If I type counter 2, right? If I type counter 2, it's going to be counter 2 that increment. That type and name is coming from this name. The first name is coming from the parent, right? The name of the slice, and the reducers the actions are actually functions that we need to invoke. Now in use reducer, if I have to pass a payload, I was passing a payload like this. For instance, 100. In the case of Redux, right? In the case of Redux, we have to pass 100 like this. Okay. Now you guys can see right here, it says payload undefined because in the first one, I'm not passing anything, right? It's undefined. But in the second one, if I pass 100, now if I save it and run it again, oh, I have to pass 100 over here, guys. Yeah, because yeah, I'm invoking this one. That's what I'm trying to console log it, right? And now a payload is 100. Every time we would like to pass something over here, for instance, object ID is equal to something like this as a string, okay? Now the payload, right? The payload will contain an object, basically. Let's just put an ID like this. Okay, we're passing an ID, all right? So now the payload is the ID of the to-do or whatever you would like to do, and you can do some logic based on that ID. But again, the type is coming from, it takes the first name of this one, and then the name of basically this guy right here, incrementing it, right? Incrementing it. So these action names, right? These action names are generated by the names of these reducers. These action names are generated based on the names of these reducers. Now we put these reducers over here. In a regular use reducer, we have switch, right? And based on the action that type, we were selecting a case and doing some logic. But in the case of Redux, we create our reducers, and instead of a case switch case, we put our functions, basically action that type. Those are the functions. And our actions are created based on these names of these reducers. And these actions will contain all of these types that we put inside our slice. Now, it can be multiple things. In the case of to-dos or in other e-commerce project, we have multiple reducers. All right, and because of the create slice is actually creating a lot of actions based on these reducers. All right, because of the fact that we will dispatch these names, we have to somehow export these actions out of this counter slice from this file. If you don't export from this file, everywhere you go, you have to invoke them like this. Okay, basically you have to invoke them inside this dispatch. You have to invoke them like this. We don't want to do that. We would like to just export these actions, right? Increment, decrement, whatever comes reducer. We'd like to export them right away from this file. So because of that, export constant, I would like to destructure these actions first. And inside the action, we said that we had increment and decrement functions. And that's coming from counter slice dot actions. Okay, counter slice dot actions. So let me put it back again. Now let's see what else this counter slice returns. What else do we need again? This reducer right here, we need this reducer inside our store. Counter slice dot reducer. Okay, we need this reducer. And because of this counter slice, the counter slice is an object. It contains reducer path, and that's going to be, the path is going to be the counter, and counter is name taken from here. Okay. Now, no matter how many state variables that you put over here, this store based on the action that we select, right? If it's increment, the actual type for the increment function, right? As we dispatch it would be counter slash increment, as we saw it. Increment. My goodness. Increment. Okay. And now this store will understand. First, it will check this counter. All right. We see that we have counter, and it has to go to the counter slice that reducer. It would, based on that, it will go to the reducer over here. Okay. It contains under the hood. It contains counter.slice reducer. Counters that counter slice that reducer, right? This function right here is exactly same as what we have in use reducer, right? Use reducer, inside the use reducer, we have reducer function right here, and we had initial state. Okay, init state. Now this reducer is exact same as counter slice that reducer. Now for this reducer, right, when we dispatch something, this reducer function contains the state and action and the switch cases, right? Based on the switch case, use reducer will identify which case it goes. Similarly, because of this reducer, okay, because of this reducer over here, this reducer comes to counter slice, and that reducer will decide which internal reducers it will go. Which internal reducers it will go. Okay, it will decide which internal reducer. Think about this, the reducers as switch cases. And think about this initial counter slice that reducer, the parent reducer, as a reducer function, the top function that we have in use reducer. It's going to be a very similar way. But again, just keep in mind that when we do create slice creates a lot of stuff for our counter slice. And as we said, one of the important things is reducer, and the other one is actions. Okay, the other one is actions. Now, for now, this should be enough for us to be able to reach out to our state variable and update in our counter slice. Increment, decrement, counter slice that actions, console.log, counter slice. Export default, counter slice. And we came down here, we imported counter slice and the counter slice that reducer. And we put our store, right? We put our store into our provider. Now it basically creates an umbrella on top of the top parent component, and it covers all of the components that come underneath this FJS. But of course, it has to be in between this provider component. Now, in case of use reducer, we were basically passing our state and dispatch down to our components. Okay, it was still being passed as props, use reducer. Now we can avoid that problem if we use context plus use reducer. Okay, use context plus use reducer is also very helpful to keep a centralized state in one place. And then with the use context, we were creating some sort of a custom hook, right? Use my context API, and then reaching out to the value in any component that we can reach out. Now, in the case of Redux, right? In the case of Redux, how do we reach out to the state variables inside our counter component? Inside our counter component. Now, in this case, we don't need this one anymore. Okay, we don't need this one anymore. What we need here is we need to reach out to grab the dispatch function. Okay, we need to reach out to grab the dispatch function. Because of the fact that we wrapped our whole application with the provider, right? And React Redux works hand in hand with Redux.js toolkit, we can import our dispatch function from a hook called use dispatch that comes from React Redux itself. Okay, constant dispatch, use dispatch that comes from React Redux itself. And we don't pass anything to this dispatch. Constant.log dispatch. Constant.log dispatch. Let me just comment this one's out for now. Okay. Refresh the page. As you guys can see, dispatch is a function. Right? Dispatch is a function. The dispatch, and it's passing some sort of argument to it. But again, dispatch is a function. Now, how do we reach out to the count, right? To the count or to the state from our store, right? In order to reach out to the state from our store, we have to use selector. Now, that is another thing that comes from React Redux itself. Okay, React Redux itself, use selector and use dispatch. Now, here's the thing. Hooks. React Redux provides a pair of custom React hooks that allow your React components to interact with the Redux store. So the way we can update the store is two hooks, built-in hooks that comes with React Redux library. Now, the first one is use selector, reads a value from the store state and subscribes to updates. While use dispatch returns the store's dispatch method to let you dispatch actions. To let us dispatch some actions. These are the two things that we need. Okay, so let's come back over here and to our counter.js. Let's just not constant.log our dispatch anymore. Now constant, let's get the state first. Okay, use selector state, return the state. Now let's try to see the state now. Okay, as you guys can see, don't worry about this. Selector on return the root state when called. This can lead to unnecessary renders. Yeah, don't worry about that right now. So as you guys can see, the state contains a counter. Okay, basically this, whatever the state over here we have is basically a state. All right, basically a state. Now, if I had another state, something like this, with the to-dos slice reducer, which I don't have it for now, and it's going to complain, of course. Okay. Failed to rule out. Because of the fact that we don't have the to-do slice that reducer, it's not shown. Okay, but again, this state right here for now is only showing the ones that we have inside our store. Right? So instead of reaching out to the whole state, which we don't need it, right? Because we are only inside the counter, And if you put if you have like a to-dos or other e-commerce state variables over here, down below, then we will be just reaching out to all of them inside our counter JSX. We don't need that. What we exactly need is state.counter. Okay, now we are reaching out to our counter. Now the counter is still an object. Okay, refresh the page. As you guys can see, this object is a counter. Right? So I have to reach out to the count. So state.counter dot count. Now the count is 0. That's the initial value that we created over here, inside our counter slice. All right. So now this count basically is not a counter; it's a count. Now this count can be put right over here. Oh, this one right here. Okay, 0. In H1 we have count, and that's coming from our store. Now right over here we have to dispatch it now. Dispatch, as we said, is a function, and increment and decrement are coming from Redux counter slice, and we have to invoke these functions. Right? When we invoke these functions, what they are actually returning, right? These guys right here is basically regular functions. Constant increment is equal to, they're basically returning an object, right? And that has a type of increment. Increment, that's it. This is the only thing they're returning it right now. Okay, and if we pass it some sort of a payload right here, like A is a payload, and we could have just do payload is equal to A. These increment functions under the hood that was generated with the help of the create slice, right? These are the functions, increment and decrement. Now, these functions are just returning a pure objects. They just return a pure objects. They just return the type increment and the payload A. Right here. Okay, so actions, decrement, the type is counter decrement. No, don't worry about that. Yeah. So the type is a counter decrement. Increment is the same thing. Action creator under the hood, it's returning a counter increment. Of course, it's adding this counter in the beginning because of the counter slice name over here. All right. This is exactly what these functions are doing. Nothing else. It's not doing anything else. It is just returning a pure object with a type in between, right? Counter increment and the payload. If you don't pass anything over here, the payload is undefined. Okay, this is what are functions. Now, why they created this type of function names? It's because it takes time. It takes some time to write down those the typical objects, right? Like this type and blah blah blah. Okay, so for that we have increment function which increments. I will just copy this guy right here and put it right over here with the dispatch of decrementing it again. Decrement. And both of them are coming from increment and decrement from counter slice. All right, let's refresh the page and try to implement this updating. Right, as you guys can see, now it is working fine. Okay, all of the logic inside our counter slice can be implemented right over here. Now, when we are decrementing, we can check the state that count, right? If state that count bigger than 0, right? Stating bigger than 0, then we can decrement it. Otherwise, stop decrementing it, right? Increment, and it will stop decrementing it when we hit 0. All of the state variable logic, we can include everything over here in between these parentheses. Any questions? Now, if you had initial state, if you had some other stuff like number 100, okay, number 100. Now, we can have get number. As we said, it's a function, okay, and we have state. Now, what we are going to do with this number is basically multiply this number by 100.
Azamat, quick
Yes.
question. In line 26,
Mhm.
you put their counter slide that actions.
Yes.
In your object, create slice is no actions there. How is understand is there is reducer, not the.
So now inside my actions right now, right? Counter slice. Now these counters actions we have increment, decrement, and get number. Under the hood, this create slice will taking based on this object that we provide is creating a counter slice, right? It's creating a counter slice. Now, when we create a counter slice, and basically this function is returning a bunch of stuff. Like it's returning a huge object. Inside object, we have actions, case reducers, blah, blah, all of these guys.
Yes.
One of them is actions. Now, these actions, right, are created based on the names of these reducers that we provide.
Yeah, I got it. The action have the increment and decrement because you created there, but
Yes.
you also have a name. You have also have an initial state and a reducer.
Yes.
How
Yep.
how it's understand that the action is inside the reducer in your object? How is like the action like figure out where is the like I mean the action it is in your object? You have like basically object there, right?
Yes.
You
Exactly.
understand what I'm saying? Like you
Yep.
have name, initial state, and all this stuff, bunch of stuff there.
Because of the fact that we are providing a name,
Mm-hmm.
this name will be included when this create slice is creating actions. Okay, the actions that is returned by this create slice would be like this. Okay, so these increment and decrement, I added one more time. Maybe I forgot to. Yes, so decrement, get number, increment.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, these are the actions, but they're actually functions. Okay,
Yeah.
actions, but they're actually functions. Now, if I do increment and invoke this function, right? As we said, this function is basically returning an object right here. It is returning a pure object.
Mm-hmm.
And now the type of that object is, the type is counter/increment. This counter is coming from this name of the slice, and this increment is coming from this reducer. Okay. Now at the same time, create slice is returning a reducer function right here. You see right here, it says this reducer. Oh, sorry. This reducer function is basically a reducer function, just like we have use reducer. It takes state and action.
Mm-hmm.
State and action. Now we are providing this reducer function to our store, counter slide that reducer. We're basically telling this guy that counter, right? Basically telling this. This is my state that // action. Now, anytime we dispatch something, right? We are looking for what? Switch, right? We're looking for switch of action that type. Yes, action that type. Now, in the case over here, usually we have counter slash increment. Right? For this counter, we have case counter slash increment, and we do the logic. And other case counter that decrement, we do the same logic. But
Can
we
you
don't
put
put
your
it.
counter slice real quick?
What was
Counter
that?
slice. Can
Oh,
you
we
put
did.
your counter slice?
Okay. Yeah. So counter slice dot reducer.
Okay. If you don't mind to go your counter slice, I just want to check something. For example, can you like create a function outside of reducer? Does it include the in action or no?
If I create a function outside the reducer, where is it?
In your create slice.
Oh, I mean, you can definitely create a function, something called like a
No,
constant.
no. Inside your create slice, but outside the reducer.
Oh, no. All of these functions need to be inside these reducers.
So if it's to create something outside this reducer, it's not going to include it in the action, right?
Oh, you're talking about right over here, new
Yes.
function is equal.
Yes.
Oh, it will not be included. No
It's not going to be included in your action, right?
function. Nope.
Okay. And the keywords, it's supposed to be reducer, or you can call it whatever you want. Or it's supposed to be reducer.
No, reducers has to be reducers.
Have to be reducers, right?
Yes, this one has to be reducers.
Okay. Okay. That
No,
was my question. I just want to check.
This has to be reducers. It cannot be anything else.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. If I
Mhm.
put anything and refresh the page, as you guys can see, increment is not a function. It's not basically creating these actions, and it's not creating a counter slice. It has to be a reducers. If you put
Oh.
reducer, not reducers, okay, it should be the same thing. But as soon as I put reducers, now it's creating reducers. Right? It has to be reducers. At the same time, this is also has to be reducer. You cannot put anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Store does not have a valid reducer. Make sure the argument passed to combine reducers is an object whose values are reducers.
Okay. Okay. So it means those keywords in like if you go to your counter slice again, those like initial
Yes.
state reducers in like name is included to your like the create slice, right? It's included supposed to the keywords.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Yep. This create slice inside object, we have to have name. We have to have initial state. We have to have reducers. These are the things that we need to have.
Got it.
Some name.
Azamat,
Yes.
you have actions and action. It's different things, all right?
Yeah, so
The
actions is a collection of actions. This is an object. Actions is an object. But this increment is returning an action, single action.
So the reducers, usually the reducer has the two things, the type and action, the two things, right? The reducers is also have the actions and the types, or how come?
No, reducers inside this create slice is just an object. It is
It's
just an object. It's not the function. It's not a function like this. Okay? But the reducer, every time you hear about the reducer right here, it is a function, okay? Just like a use reducer, it is a function which has a state and action. Okay? It is a function which has a state and action. Basically, we're providing this function to the counter. And this counter is becoming our reducer.
the counter becoming a reducer.
Yes, because this reducer is coming from counter slice. and we're basically assigning this reducer function, right? This function, state and action, to the counter. Okay.
And that counter we are using.
See right here, reducer right here on the right side.
Mhm.
Reducer inside counter slice. Counter slice that the reducer will basically assign this function, and this function is right reducer state and action.
And that reducer we are that counter. We are. Why did you keep? Oh, I'm confused to be honest.
This
The
naming-
reducer, the
Yes.
object. Why did you keep? Oh, it's because. Why did you keep all of them inside of the reducer object?
Reducers.
No. In the storages, I guess. Yeah, you are like keeping the whole like
Oh,
this.
because by the requirement, this configure store, we have to provide a single reducer that belongs to the store. Okay, single
So
configure store accepting an object, and inside the object we have reducer property, and the value is an object that contains all of other store variables, or basically state variables. To do slice that reducer. If you have a to do slice, just like the counter slice, you can put it over here. Let's just say conf state equal to conf is for e-commerce, right? Conf state that reducer. You can put all of these guys like this.
each reducer has state and action.
Each reducer has a state and action. Yes.
Can you please go to counter GSX?
Counter slice.
No, the GSX.
Oh, counter GSX. Okay.
That is reducer you gonna use here, right?
Yeah. So because of the
Okay.
fact that I need count for my counter, I'm reaching out to the count like this. If I had to reach out to my to-dos, I had to do state that to-dos and maybe to-dos.
That
Okay.
state comes from the reducer, right?
That state comes from reducer, yes.
But you are not using here any action.
This
You don't
state contains all of these guys right here.
Oh, that's it. I
Yes.
thought you are taking that from the counter.
No. No, that state is containing all of them. Now, we try to see use selector state. Okay, so we
To
see
be
this.
honest, it's hard to understand.
Yeah. It's a little bit hard. Yeah, I definitely admit that, right? So
It takes
console
time.
state. Refresh the page. Now, the state contains a counter and this counter right here, right? Right, this counter and this counter.
This counter is from the store GSS, right?
Yes, this right here.
This one, right?
Yep.
That counter is supposed to have two things, state and action.
So, okay, so counter 2, complaining about that counter. Yep. As you guys can see right here, in the store, I changed this counter 2. So now my state is basically counter 2, and this, the containing is an object. Now, we know that, right? We know that in my reducer function, right? This reducer function, I have to return the next state, right? I have to return the next state. Something like state and some sort of something added to count, for instance, is equal to 1. Okay, or action.payload, whatever. Okay, so this reducer is a function that returning the next state. Now, because of the fact that I put the counter slice that reducer, this counter slice that reducer is returning actually this state right here. Okay, this counter slice that reduces is returning an object. Inside my object, I have count, initial value 0, and I do have number is equal to 100. It is returning it's returning the initial state because we put the initial state over here. Okay, initial state, this guy right here. All right, the initial state, that's the initial state. And now the count is this one right here. All right. It's not able to read it because we have to put the reducer over here. All right. So now instead of putting this object like this, we have to use counter slice dot reducer. And now this reducer, every time we update something changes in the state, we are returning the next state. Okay. Maybe I said it wrong. This basically, we're not assigning this reducer function to the counter 2. No, we are basically actually we are assigning, but the thing is that this reducer function returns the next state. Okay, this reducer function returns the next state because of the fact that the state variable that I'm seeing inside my counter.js right here, you selected state. I'm grabbing the whole state. Maybe I should add some other to do slice that reducer for the sake of that you guys can understand. All right, but I'm grabbing the whole state, and that whole state contains, for now, it's just a counter 2. Okay, let me change the name to regular count and put this counter 2 like this. And now the state contains everything inside my state is an object, and we have counter. And from this counter, I can select individual state variable that belongs to a specific component. In this case, state that count belongs to the counter component. That's why I can select from my state. This one grabs the whole state. All right. How about we create a to-dos slice? Okay.
Azamat,
Yes.
that you destructured your functions in, I guess, in counter
Oh.
slice.
Oh, I have it. Yes.
But where did you use it? I guess I skip it, or I don't know.
Where is it? Where am I looking at?
Counter slice. If you go to the counter slice,
Counter slice. Yes.
yeah, if you scroll down, you destructured that your functions.
Yes.
Yes, increment and decrement. But did you use somewhere these two things?
Yes. We used inside our counter.js right here. Dispatch, increment, and increment and decrement are coming from Redux counter slice.
It's like how you get the access to your functions.
Yes, exactly. So as we said in our use reducer, how we did was we were putting an object. Inside object, we were putting a type. Okay. And then we were just saying increment like this. A typical use reducer. Now, in an old traditional way, we used to do the same thing before. Okay, before in like a couple years ago, when we used the Redux we implemented the Redux in our React applications, we used to put like this, dispatch type, increment, etc. And based on the type, we were just changing our state. But with the help of this Redux.js toolkit, create slice is doing everything for us. It is basically creating these actions, and these actions are pure functions that return an object. These actions are, as I said, pure functions that return an object like this. Constant increment, as we said, increment action, right? Action is action as a function. It is just returning an object like this. But in this case, right, it's under the hood. We don't know how it's returning. Actually, we know how it's returning. It is returning, right? It's going to put the parent name of the slice as a counter and putting it as increment. This is basically what is it returning, guys? This is basically what's returning. Okay, this is basically what it is returning. Now, is it going to work if I type this one right here? increment. In this case, I would like to put counter slash type. See, it's still working. Because, as we said, increment is a function that returns a pure, it's a pure function that returns an object, this object right here, all right? And then as a type, we're just putting the counter slash increment. Now, but if I put this increment by itself without the counter, now is it gonna work? No, because it cannot identify. It comes to the store and it tries to identify which slice it belongs to. And because of the fact that we don't have the slice name, right, the counter in this case, or to-dos, we don't have the slice name in the beginning, it cannot find it. But as soon as I put counter slash increment, right, counter slash increment, now it will be able to find it and it will be able to increase it. Decrement is the same thing. Okay, decrement is just decrement like this.
I guess I'm confusing since like I remember that state is our data, and but here the state is it's not data, it's keeping the all, how to say,
No, it's the store, is the data right here.
I mean like
It's a data, but we are
state is a
slicing the
store.
data. We're slicing the data, right? The counter slice is keeping the data in its own in its own file, and to-do slice is keeping its all the to-dos related state in its own file. But we're basically combining all of these slices in one place, and this is how we combine all of these slices in one place. This is how we generate our state, the global state. All right, this circle is a global state, but it has slices. Basically, think about this store as a piece of pie, right? A pie, a whole pie, and we're just slicing this pie into pieces. This small piece of pie belongs to e-commerce or Comfy. This small piece of pie belongs to to-dos, and this small piece of pie belongs to counter. Now you can divide this pie in unlimited number of slices. But here, that all of them are combined over here. Okay, do I have to-dos? What is this? Comfy e-commerce? No. Over here, projects to-do list. Use reducer functional component. I would like to put this single to-do list. All right, let's try to create our to-do slice, and we can just implement this. I'm just worried that might take some time, you know. Come down here, and instead of counter, we're gonna do to-dos.jsx. Right, and of course, a single to-do. Need to bring it down here. Cool. So now inside my app.css, maybe I'll just let's different one. There's also a different one. I grabbed it already. Single to do, I grabbed it already. Cool. Yeah, this one requires Bootstrap. Do I have Bootstrap installed? Yes. I think we should be good. Cool. So we have to-dos, and single to-do should be coming from just if that's CSS, that's fine. UUID, that's fine. Use ref, use state, that's fine. Now come back to my app.jsx. What if I put my to-dos right over here? Isn't that to-dos? Why I was not able to import it? To-dos. Cool. T1, T2, because of the fact that we have some to-dos in our local storage. Local storage. Actually, we have a lot of stuff, and we have some to-dos. Okay, to-dos have a couple items. It's displaying that one. Local storage that clear. Let's clear the local storage and refresh the page. Now these to-dos are coming from this guy right here, initial to-dos. Cool. So what I would like to do here is I will just grab this initial to-dos and come down here to my to-do slice, okay? And I will put this initial to-dos right over here. And I will just grab this initial to-dos. It's not going to be counter slice. It's going to be to-dos slice. And I would, okay, so initial to-dos, initial state is going to be initial to-dos. I don't need this new function, okay? Reducers. Now, we have to make sure that we local storage that get item to-dos, JSON that parse, that's fine. Initial to-dos, blah, blah, blah. To-do slice, and to-do slice dot actions. What kind of actions do we actually need for our to-dos slice? Now, for now, let's just assume that these are the slices, okay? To-dos slice that actions, and when we come to our to-dos that slice, we have to, of course, import this to-dos slice. To-do slice.js, to-do slice, export constant increment. Oh, sorry, I forgot to export this guy right here. Save it, right? Store that reducer. Now, as you guys can see right here, my state has changed now. What do I see in my state now? State, as we said, basically is returning an object, right? And it has counter, okay? And as an initial value, this one is basically our reducer is returning an initial value. And something changes, we update it, and it will return the next state. Okay, so now we have to-dos over here.
That one, the initial value, it's actually our state, right?
It's actually our state, yes.
So that action, what we usually use for the use reducer, we are not gonna use here, right? That action we don't need. We need only state.
We need only the state, yes.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. But the actions right here is combination of actions is an object. It contains a lot of functions. That
Mhm.
function names were generated based on these reducer function names.
He is gonna be like delete to do, edit to do, the whole thing's gonna be
Exactly.
to the
Yes.
reducer.
Exactly. Everything that we have inside our to-dos, all of these functions, right? We're gonna put it right over there. All right. Handle to do, for instance, this guy right here, this guy right here, handle to do, handle edit, handle add to do. Okay, one at a time. I can copy these guys and put it right inside my to do slice. Okay, it's going to be handle to do delete, handle to do save, handle to do complete. Should do one more time and handle add to do. Okay, handle add to do. So now all of these names, we have to put it right over here. Okay, so handle, what do we have? Add to do, handle edit, handle to do complete, handle to do save. Right? These are actions are coming from the to-dos slice. Console.log to-dos slice. If I refresh the page, as you guys can see right here, name, oh, the name counter, we need to change the name to to-dos, not the counter. Right? Save it. Refresh the page now. So then okay, where's right here. So the name is to dos now. And the actions that create is generated is this guys right here. Create slice is automatically generating these functions. Now these functions are pure functions that return an object only. They return an object. This handle to do all of these functions are pure functions that return, as I said, right, that return an object. This object, inside object will have type, and this type will be to-dos. It will start with to-dos, and in the case of handle at to-do. Handle at to-do. All right? In the handle at to-do, we usually add some payload over here. Okay, so now the payload is going to be a payload. Now we have to put this payload over here, and it will be assigned to the payload. Now, because of the fact that we put the payload, okay, because of the fact that we put the payload, we will add some logic over here. Okay, we will add some logic over there. All right, any questions so far? Do you guys think it's doable?
I guess we just need more time to understand that one more.
Definitely, yes.
That payload, what we did in our use reducer, that payload we take from, for example, single to do, and send it as a payload. It's actually the information like the props.
Yep,
Hey,
exactly.
how it's gonna work in
In
that
this
case?
case right here, in the handle add to do, right? Handle, it do not delete, yeah. Let me just copy this one right here. Payload. Oh, actually, let's just bring it back. This assume that this payload is an ID, okay? And we'll just put this payload ID, okay? So now In this case, handle to the delete, we're gonna have additional stuff for this one, which is action. Okay, this action will have action.payload. Console.log. Oops. Action.payload. All right. In the case of if you are passing some data from your action functions, we can reach out to those payload with the help of action. All right, with the help of action. Now, in the use reducer, we were deciding based on the action.type and based on the switch. But in the when it comes to the Redux, Redux is deciding based on this name right here. Okay, if it's to-dos, so now I have to go where? I have to go to my to-do slice. All right, I go to the to-do slice. What comes next? I go to the to-do slide. I lost. Okay, it's right here. I go to the to-do slide. Then what? In that case, I have to go to handle to-do delete reducer function. Okay, I come down here. All right, then what? I do have payload and I do have type. Basically, this whole thing is an action. Okay, this whole thing is an action. Let me bring it this one back. We're not going to change anything, but what we are going to do here is we'll just constant log it when we dispatch this handle to do delete. All right, dispatch handle to do delete. So what happens if I dispatch handle to do delete and put a function there and put an ID 100? All right, what do you guys see right here? You see right here? This is actually coming from to do slice. Right over here, this action inside to do's slice. Refresh the page. Right here, action inside to do's slice. And that is an action is an object. And payload is a payload 100. Right? If you pass some sort of a payload, in this case, we're passing a payload of 100 right here. In the case of ID, handle to the ID, we can reach out to that payload or ID inside our to-do slice with the help of state.action. And do some logic right over here. Under the hood, we have emer.js, which is very helpful to delete the to-dos. All right. Any questions so far? Now, so the state contains, right, this guy right here. The whole state is an object. And because of my ID, how do I delete a key property from my object? You can tell me?
Just use delete.
Exactly. Yep. So delete, right, is going to be a state.
ID.
It's going to be just in this case action.payload.
Oh, action.payload is gonna be ID.
Yes, action.payload is going to be ID. All right, action.payload is going to be ID. Now this whole thing is a state. Now, if you had something like to-dos and then put this object inside, now we could have done state.todos, right? State.todos and then action.payload. We're not doing that. What we are doing is the whole thing is an object and the whole thing is a state for us, and state action.payload. So now the ID is 1. If I come down here and pass the ID 1 right over here, now initially we had 4, but if I save it right away, okay, refresh it, payload 1, do slice, delete state action.payload. Basically, I'm deleting state 1.
Do you need to add that payload.id since like in the payload could be many things?
No, that payload is just a payload.
Yeah.
It count, now initial to-dos, initial state, initial to-dos. And because of the fact that inside my, wait a minute.
I guess you need to change your single to the no?
You need to change to single to-do?
You are trying to delete the first to do ID, right?
Yeah, so the thing is that this fetch handle to do delete, because we're passing 1, should be able to come to the slice, right? Handle to do delete, and action that payload is our ID. Basically, this is what we are doing. We're passing 1, state 1, delete state 1. Let object 1, or just object, we have 1 as a value A. We have 2 as a value of B in this case. Okay, if I do delete object and put 1, true. And now if I see the object again, now I should have only 2. This is what I'm doing right now. Delete object 1. And in this case, delete state 1. Okay, so how about we do, let's see if I have to-dos first. Let me just remove the state, name it as to-dos. Okay. Inside counter to-dos. Now you select the state that to-dos, to-dos. No, state that to-dos. It has to be just state that to-dos. To-dos inside counter right here. To-dos inside counter, as we said, this to-dos is an object. Oh, number 1 is gone. It is deleted. Oh, it is normal though, right? It is deleted, guys. It's deleted. But the fact that we haven't changed anything, we haven't implemented our Redux in our to-dos component. It is still taking from this one right here. Do you guys agree? To-dos, constant to-dos, and put my to-dos right over here, right? What I can do here, right? What I can do here is basically delete all of these guys. Maybe not. I will just comment them out because we need some logic over here. I have just commented that one out. You know what? Let's just delete them because I can grab it from the other place. Cool. So edit to-dos, use state initial to-dos. Now, as we said, from the counter right here, I can grab my dispatch. All right. I can grab my dispatch at the same time, my use selector, and grab my to-dos. Do I have use selector now? Yes. Update local storage can definitely go. All right, update local storage can definitely go. Edit to-dos. Now we don't need these to-dos anymore. Dispatch, we don't need this state and count. We are inside our to-dos. Now to-dos, object that enters to-dos, yes, map key value should be fine. Action dot payload. What am I doing wrong here? To-dos, handle at to-do is not defined. Oh my goodness, I have to change all of those things. It says that it's not defined, but yeah, actually, we don't have to do, we don't have to put these guys, right? All of these functions will be brought down from to-do slice, right? These actions. Okay, so to-dos, it should be pretty straightforward now. Now, handle at to-do. The only thing I need for this guy is handle at to-do. Anonymous function, and put my dispatch right over here and pass handle at to-do that should come from my slice, right? Handle to-do, redux to-do slice, that's an action, one of the action functions. Now I have to invoke this function. As I said, this function will return, right? It's the pure function, just returns an object which has type and payload. Now we can dispatch this guy right here. So refresh the page. When it comes to my single to-dos right here, I still need my dispatch over there. I still need my dispatch over there. Now here I can put use effect every time my to-dos changes. I would like to update local storage with new to-dos. All right, I'm back to my single to-do, and right over here, I want to do dispatch. As we said, none of these guys will come from props, but they will come, right? Handle edit ID change. We definitely need to grab this guy and put dispatch first. Handle ID change. All right, to the slice. And now we're passing ID as a payload. Handle ID change, where is it? Handle edit ID change, it has to be action right over here because of the fact that we can reach out to action.payload. So now, instead of these guys right here, handle to do complete. Grab it, dispatch it, and put the function back. Grab the function from there. Now, is this the right way to pass this payload? it has to be one thing. Okay, it has to be one thing. What I mean by that is this payload has to be only one object. If you pass two things like this, then it will grab the first one. Right? In the case of this one right here, now payload will be this one, but this one will not be counted as a payload. In order to
What if
yeah,
you keep inside of object like payload and
yep, that's what we are going to do. Object, right? Check it. We can put as either target check it, and ID will be just ID. ID will be just ID. Since both of them are same, I'll just keep it as ID. Now this object is a payload. It's not an action, right? It is a payload inside the action. Dispatch handle to do complete. All right, save it. Now when it comes to the to do complete right here, action. Now this action is an object that has a type, blah, 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 and we have a payload. Now payload is an object. We have check it, whether it's a true or false, and we have an ID, whether it's 100 or something like that. This is what
that
we
type comes automatically from the name and then from the name of the function, right?
the type.
Yes, like in
Yes,
the
the
function,
type.
we don't need to type it.
Yes, the type will come as it is, to-dos slash like this.
What about in that side, in the other side, in the handle to the complete function?
Yeah, right here. We just need to pass the name of the action.
We don't need to type the type and then type in the,
No, we're not typing anything. We're just a function. This function is basically returning a pure object, right? That object contains. This function is basically returning this whole object right here.
So if I correctly understand, in our function, in the dispatch part, we just need to provide the payload that we don't need to provide any types, since it comes automatically under the hood. And the logic of the function, it will be instead of providers.
Yes. The only thing you need to provide, right? If you don't provide anything, then it means that you don't have anything in here. You only have a state, that's it. But if you provide something as a value, then that's going to be action, right? Oh, sorry, that's going to be payload, and payload is inside the action. So in
That's
here,
it inside of the state, inside of the reduce. How that can you console dot log that state inside of to do slice?
I have to comment out these guys first because
Okay, okay.
it's not recognizing these guys. Okay, we'll try to console.log the state, but here another representation, as we said, was instead of putting this guy right here, right? Another representation was to put this object itself. Basically, when we dispatch this function is basically returning this object, and we are dispatching this object.
This is what we done usually using the
Yes, you use reducer. Yes, in all traditional way, Redux was done like this. But now with the Redux JS toolkit, this function is basically returning a pure function. Sorry, pure object. Okay, it's a pure function. It's returning an object, and that object is this one right here. And this is what we are dispatching it. We are dispatching this, the return value of this function. As a return, we're just returning this object. Okay, so in the payload is another object with the check it true and blah, blah, blah. Now this object, we're passing to this function right here. That's the only thing we're doing it. That's it. Another representation. Do we have a handle input changes only here? We're not doing anything else. And handle save click, we're not doing anything else. The only thing left for this guy is dispatch this function coming from to the slides. Edit ID is not defined in to-dos JSX. I think I deleted this edit ID. Yeah, edit ID. Oh, you know what? Okay, edit ID, I can put it right inside. Yeah, I guess I will just put inside this right here. I think I will just do my initial thing. Edit ID is going to be null initially, and now I have to-dos, and this to-dos is going to, oops, is an object, will contain these guys. So it's instead of initial to-dos, now I should have initial state. And now this JSON parse blah, blah, should come right over here. Now initial state is going to be just right here. And now right here, state.todos is going to be deleting this action.payload. We should be good now. We should be still good. When it comes to counter, when I select to-dos, I have to select state.todos, .todos. State.todos, .todos. State.todos, .todos. And this one is selecting the to-dos, and this guy right here, edit ID, is selecting state.todos, edit ID. Boom. Okay, now deleting is working fine right now, guys. We are dispatching the delete, dispatch handle to the delete, right? We're passing the ID. Now we'll come to our to-do slice, handle to the delete, action. Inside action, we have action.payload, which refers to the ID, and delete state.todos, ID, and we're deleting it. Now delete, delete. Okay, because of the fact that it is grabbing from local storage, and it is also updating the local storage. Okay, it is grabbing from the local storage, and it is also updating local storage. But if I clear my local storage, I should be over here. It's not showing the to-do one. Why? Because we are deleting it right over here. I should just remove this code for now. Okay, what did you want to see, Maksad?
The state. If you go to the to-do slice, we have action and state.
To-do slice, yes.
Yes, in reducer you have state and action. The action is what you have. The
This
action
is,
was
yeah.
okay, Sam. The action. The action was the information was provided by the to-dos itself. Okay, it's kind of ID and something like this. But the state it keeps
Yes,
the
state
initial
is
value,
for,
right?
yes, the state is for this right here. So the state contains, right? This whole object is a state. And inside the state, we have edit ID and to-dos.
Okay. I'm good.
Let's take a break. It's been a
Okay.
long time. Let's take a break. All right. Who has any questions, guys?
Azamat,
Yes.
Maybe we could like create some maybe like small project with the Redux. This might be like more understandable because right now we just started doing like the jumping into like components like dirty, and it's a little bit confused for me honestly.
Sure, yeah.
If you have maybe it's like a small project, we can like do it from the scratch, and we can like figure out how what
Well, you want to do it from scratch? I don't think we have time for that, 717. What kind of project you guys would like to do?
like
mean-
not today. I mean for maybe next class or something like this. So it's gonna
Oh yeah,
be
next class, definitely we can try to implement some this Redux in our projects. How about we convert this whole thing into a Redux? Right now, it is using use context, okay, because this is definitely a global context provider. But again, we are still using inside our global context provider, we are still using use state. It will still act as a global state management tool, right? Because of the fact that each component needs a state from our context API, and we can reach out to those state and do some update. Yeah, it's up to you guys. What do you guys would like to do? Do you guys want to convert this context API to Redux, or you guys would like to work on something else?
okay. Let's like convert it, I guess.
What about the others? Begimay, Maqsad, what do you guys would like to do?
I'm okay with any option, to be honest.
All right, cool. Let me put this guy right over here. Basically done with this status. This is actually, I shared the code with you guys last time. It's a demo project that we did, right? E-commerce. I guess it should be in the Slack though. You guys can definitely check it out. Oh yeah, it's in the Slack. One of those one of my last messages that I sent you guys in the Slack. All right, cool. So we do have global context provider. But of course, everything that we have inside our provider, let's just, you know what? Yeah. We can start right over here. Now, everything inside our global context provider, these are the state variables. We can extract all of these state variables to where? To our initial state. Okay, to our initial state, we can extract all of these state variables and create our state there. Now, what's going to be our state depends on what is shown right over here. It's going to, Redux will basically, in terms of context API, we have to keep all of these inside our global context provider. And then we can expose those state variables with the value, right? With the value and down to all of the components that they needed. And another way to simplify is to use reducer. Okay, inside our use reducer, what we could have done, right? Let me just assuming that if we had used reducer, we wouldn't have any of these functions. We wouldn't have any of these functions. At the same time, we wouldn't have any of these values. The only thing we could have done is state and dispatch down to our value, okay? And then none of these guys would definitely exist. What we could have done here is constant state and dispatch is equal to, right, use context. I mean, through distant, use my custom context API like this. Okay, just like that. It definitely shrinks the whole thing. It definitely shrinks the whole thing. We can definitely achieve use my custom context API. No, not this one. Sorry. Use my custom use reducer. Custom use reducer. Okay, something like this. And it will definitely shrink, but the logic will be kept in a separate file with the help of use reducer or use immer reducer. I will let you guys convert this whole thing using use immer reducer. Okay, we do have some examples in our demo projects, how to convert it. That's gonna be the homework. But again, what we need to do to start off right away is we can basically grab everything from here, right? Grab everything from here and put it, of course, we need to create Redux folder, Redux. Inside our Redux, we're going to call store.js. Okay, store.js. Now, next to store.js, we would like to create config slice.js. All right, config slice.js. Now, inside my store, as we said, where we start from, constant store is equal to configure store. And because of the fact that I did not install, okay, npm install React Redux at the same time at redux.js / toolkit. Redux, interesting. Redux.js toolkit, right? React Redux and Redux.js toolkit. Both of them are installed in our package.json. Now I should be able to configure store from Redux.js toolkit. As we said, it accepts an object, right? It's a function, accepts object, and it has a reducer. Now this reducer will accept what comes out of, right? The reducer function that comes out of config_slice.js file. All right, so constant initial state is going to be a lot of stuff, all of these guys. Okay, so is loading is going to be false. Let me type show navbar is going to be false initially. Yep, false. Show cart is going to be false initially. Show checkout is going to be false initially. All of these state. And cart products, all right, cart products definitely get storage is going to be get stored item. Get storage item function is coming from utils, and we're just searching for cart products. At the same time, featured products is going to be data filter. Now this data is it's basically inside our assets, right? This is the data that we have. All right, this is pretty much it. So we do have cart products, we do have featured products data.filter, blah, blah, blah. Initial state is done. Now what we need is constant config_slice is equal to create slice. Okay, just remember, create slice will accept function will accept an object, and inside the object will have the name. Of course, let's just call it config. E-commerce. Initial state is going to be initial state, and we have reducers. Oh my goodness, I did delete it. Do I still have it over here? No. Why did I delete it from here? Okay, cool. What I need from here instead in terms of reducers, I can put these names. Set is loading the function. Set the cart products. Set cart products. Set show cart. Set checkout. Set show checkout. And set cart products. Okay, we did set cart. Set is loading cart products. Set show navbar. Set show navbar. Okay, featured products. We don't need that. Okay, these are our reducers. What else do we need from here? Now, all of these actions will be generated based on the names of these reducer functions. All right, so export constant, basically set cart products, set is loading, set show cart, set show checkout, set show navbar are coming from config_slice dot actions. One, two, three, four, five. Yep. Is it complaining about something? No.
You need to export the conf slice as well?
We do, yes, you're right. So export a constant conf
Why
slice.
constant?
Oh, sorry. Export the default. I was gonna say default.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yep, export default conf slice, constant conf slice, create slice, a name is e-commerce, initial state, reducers, blah, blah, blah. We're good. So now right over here, we can say conf slice, right? Comes from conf slice.js file, dot reducer. Save it.
Is it necessary to put the reducer in the beginning as a key?
Yes, it's part
Or
of this configure store.
okay.
Part of this configure store. It accepts reducer.
It's
Right?
exactly supposed to be reducer. We cannot change
Oh.
to a different name, right?
No, it has to be reducer.
Mhm.
Right?
Okay.
It has to be reducer. So let's go back to our, so what do we need to export here? Export
Conf.
the store.
Mhm.
Now, come back to my global context provider. Oh, I changed it, okay. Let me just copy paste. And this one is the copy. I don't need the copy. What I need is this copy right here. Can I work on this copy? Yeah, forget about it. Let me just delete this one for now. This copy would be global context provider, Redux. Global context provider, Redux. Right, so FJSX, come down here, FJSX. I think I'm wrapping my main.jsx, sorry. So this should come from global context provider, Redux, right? Redux.jsx. Cool. Global context provider. Now, global context provider, nothing is changed so far. We also need all of these functions transferred over to our conf
Right.
slice.
Mhm.
Conf slice. I may copy too much, but that's fine. Yeah. Cool. Now, since this is a copy, we can just eliminate these guys.
But we didn't copy the actions, no? The function itself, what it's gonna do.
Oh yeah, so the function names, we definitely need to grab those at product to cart.
No, I mean that the function action. I mean like deleting, editing.
Oh yeah, we will grab it from this copy right here. This one
Oh,
right
okay,
here.
okay, yeah, yeah, we have it.
Do we?
Oh, we don't have it.
Oh, right here, sorry. I was
Uh,
looking at the now. So
okay,
yeah, this one
I
we
got
have.
you.
All right, cool. Oh, I lost my thought process. So okay, so adding it and let's just put it remove. Somehow it's not putting it down. Increase and decrease. What's missing over here? Like, why is it red right now? I think I'm missing something over here. So create slice, definitely coming from create slice, toolkit, yep. Constant config slice, export constant,
I found out it's line 12. 11. Line 11.
11.
If you scroll up, yeah.
Oh, goodness. That was the thing, yeah. What's going on? Cool. Yep, we are basically done with this slice, and the store is fine. And this one is global context provider Redux. So yeah, we don't need these guys. All right. In the case of my context, we actually don't need my context. I'm not sure why we are working on the context right now. So we don't need this value. Okay. What we can do here is grab the provider. Yes, the provider from the React Redux. And then this is going to be store. Okay. And now we can provide the store from React Redux and pass it down.
So you need to change the main as well. Main J6.
No, we
Oh.
don't need to change anything. No. So this is going to go global Redux provider. Okay. Global Redux provider and main JSX. What we can change is instead of global Redux provider. That's it. What is this? Should be fine now. I mean, we can definitely put the provider over here and just wrap it with the provider that comes with from React Redux. Okay, it should be fine. But in here, every time something changes over here in terms of card products, we are updating the state storage. All right, so this use effect we're going to use inside our cart component, okay, inside our cart component. I feel like, right, I feel like we don't need this, the whole provider thing. Do
We
you
can
guys?
directly put to main J6.
Yeah, I don't need any reason to, because we don't have anything over here to update, just like the context API. Okay. So for that, we'll just use provider, and then we'll provide the store with the store. All right, we just don't need that one, so we should be fine with this one. That's gone. So now everything starts from FJSX. Our store is fine, our slices are fine, and FJSX.
Now, where we have to keep that functions itself in the config slice, right?
The functions, yes.
That for each of the that functions.
Yep. And we'll try to solve all of these problems one at a time. So it says that my context API, blah, 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 which is fine. We don't need that, okay? Let's talk about the nav bar. So all of these components will change, right? So I would like to create a copy of the component so that I can keep it over here. And this copy is basically components use context. And these components are the one that we are going to change with Redux. Okay, so let's talk about the nav bar. What do we need from the nav bar? We don't need anything in this case, right? We're still using the React router DOM, and we need the location, and we're grabbing the location based on the slash. If it's slash, then display the home. If it's not, then display the products. And based on that home or products, we are changing the nav bar. Okay, we're changing the nav class, whether it's nav bar or nav bar page. And also based on the route, if it's home, show the logo white. If it's black, then show the logo black. There's nothing that is related in terms of a state. All right, what I'm suspecting is nav bar links. Now we started from app. We're going one at a time. Nav bar, yes, nav bar. Inside nav bar links. Let's go to nav bar links now. There we go. Now we're using something from our state. Okay, so how can I get my show nav bar? Constant show nav bar is equal to use selector, right? React Redux, and now we have state. And from our state, I am selecting state dot, okay, state dot. Oh, actually, for this reducer right here, guys, we forgot to put, right? It's an object, and just like we put the counter like this, right? Counter and like this. So for that, we have to use, maybe just use e-commerce. You know what? I will just use comfy state. Okay. So navbar links, I have to use state that comfy state that show navbar. All right. Set show navbar. I will just use my dispatch. So constant dispatch is equal to use dispatch. That's it. As you said, dispatch does not accept anything. But now, instead of set show navbar, okay, what we can do here is basically dispatch it. Dispatch, set show navbar, and invoke the function. Now this should come from Redux comfy slice, right? Set show navbar. It is it's part of the comfy slice dot actions. Comfy slice dot actions. These as part of actions, it's show navbar. Set show navbar function. That's a pure function. It only returns the thing. So am I using my show navbar? No, I'm not.
You need to put inside of your set show number.
I don't
And
have
talk.
to. Yeah, I don't have to. What I'm planning to do, right? Since it was previously it was use context. Okay, right over here. This is my previous one. Okay, it's in navbar links. Where's my navbar links? Right here is set show navbar. With this set show navbar, because of the fact that this is a use state, it comes from the use state. Okay, it comes from the use state. We need to update. We need to use this one and provide the next value for our show navbar. But in the case of my show navbar inside my set show navbar right here, set show navbar, What I would like to do here is that I need to do, right, state dot show navbar is equal to state dot show navbar.
It was to equal to or double dot?
Equal to, yes. We're just reassigning a new value. Double dot, you mean double equal sign?
No, I mean the dot, like, my God, Toichi. How was it?
Like this? No, it's
Yeah.
we can use this one in object, right? We cannot use outside. It has to be an object. So we're just reassigning a new value. The previous value was false. Now it's going to be true.
Oh,
Next,
it's function. Sorry, it's not object. Confused.
Yeah. Oh, so we have to put the state over here, guys. Don't forget the state.
Mhm.
We have to put the state over here. Now, set show navbar is practically is done. Okay, we don't have to put anything. What else
Then
we
you
can?
have to delete that show number, the line
Yeah,
7.
we're not using it. Yes, we're not definitely using it. The only thing we need is dispatch. That's it. You're right. Okay,
Mm.
navbar links is done. What I need inside my navbar again. Let's go to the cart icon. Oh, seems like we need a lot of stuff from cart icon. Because of the fact that we're not seeing anything from the UI, I would like to just extend this one like this until we something, right? So that we can see the code completely. 748. Hopefully we can finish that one. Cool. Looks like we need cart products and at the same time show cart.
You don't need show card. It's the same. It's toggling.
Same thing. You're right. Yes, absolutely right. So, okay, then I need just dispatch, right? This dispatch from use dispatch, okay? And copy this guy and put it right here and put this one like this. And now set show card needs to come from my set show card. Okay, so and I need to delete this guy first so that I can grab it from Redux conf slice. Right? That dispatch is done. Cart count. Now we need to grab cart products. The cart products is inside our initial state, inside our slice. So cart icon. What I need to do here is constant cart products is equal to use selector to select any state from our state. Okay, now state dot, what do I have over here? Conf state. State dot conf state dot cart products. Now cart products that reduce, and it will show the cart count. Now set show cart. Set show cart will be exact same thing. Conf slice set show cart. Basically, I will just copy this guy, put it right here, and put state show cart. State that show cart, not state that show cart. That's it. We are done for our cart icon. The cart icon doesn't have any child components, and navbar is practically done. FJSX sidebar. Let's take a look at the sidebar. Show navbar, set show navbar. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. So
Actually, you need only set show number from a dispatch and that's it.
you're right.
Ah, no, you need show number. It's because you are toggling that class name.
I would like to wait. I thought we did this one. Oh, am I updating that one? Did I update anything on over here? I should have not touched this one right here. Okay, cart icon. I will just grab this guy. Yeah, I will just grab this guy. Navbar links is done. Cart sidebar. Dispatch comes from, okay. Use dispatch. What I would like to do here, guys, if I search this one, okay, and there's 4 of them, all right, what I would like to do here, dispatch, set show navbar, and put it like this and close it like this and update all at once. Save some time, right? Like to save some time. I think I still need this show navbar. Constant show navbar. Use selector. State that comfy. Oh, state, right? Comfy state that show navbar. Cool. Oh, we need to grab this guy from comfy slice. There you go. So let's go back to our comfy slice. Set show nav bar. Show nav bar. Well, what? When did we do this one? Looks like set show nav bar is the same as, oh, not this one. Don't open that one. Oh my goodness. Cart icon. Was it that one? Oh,
It
this
was
one.
navbar links. Navbar
Oh,
links.
navbar links. Yes, set show navbar. Yes. Okay, cool. Both of these guys are practically done. This one is keeps opening it. Sidebar is done. I don't have any child components that I need to worry about. Okay, cool. Let's go back to FJSX. Cart. The cart should be a little bit longer. I don't know. Show cart, set show cart. I feel like I grabbed the cart product somewhere. Is it was here? Oh yeah, right here. Cart. Right over here. Use selector and dispatch. Cart products is going to go down to cart products.map and single cart product, blah, blah, blah. Now, in terms of show cart, I need to grab the show cart. Show cart, show cart. Now, oh, dispatch it right here. Dispatch, show cart, take this guy out and bring this guy from comfy slice. All right, that should be done. Now, show cart is also done. Yes, that is definitely done. Cart is practically done, except we're gonna go to each single cart product and footer. Let's do the footer first. Wow, footer has a lot of stuff too. Interesting. I think I can grab this everything from here, put it into the footer. Use selector and use dispatch. All right, the cart products is being used over here. Set show checkout. I need to grab show checkout from state. Show checkout. Oh yeah, you know what? I don't need that. Sorry. I actually don't need that. Dispatch. Cool. Okay, so I don't need this show checkout. The only thing I need is cart products. And cart products is here, reduce, blah, blah, blah. This should be fine. So Yeah, so set show checkout. Basically copy paste show checkout over here and show checkout over here. Filter is done. Cart. Let's go inside single cart product. Single cart product. All right, so these guys remove product from cart, increase the cart product count, decrease cart product count, were actually the functions to perform some action, right? So for that reason, we have to have a dispatch. We need to bring the dispatch. I need to bring this dispatch, and everything else will be just dispatch. So basically, right over here, dispatch, remove product from cart, and we need to provide the product. And this product will be our payload. Same thing goes for this guy. Increase, decrease, dispatch. Format price is coming from utils function, files here, and yeah, save it.
That product we need it since it's like our payload, right?
This
The
product is coming from the parent, yes.
No, I
Since
mean
we-
like for the on click, the inside of dispatch, we have a product. It's our payload.
yes, this
Ah.
product, this is actually a payload,
Okay.
but it will be located when it goes to the slice, right? It will be located inside action. So for that right here, at product blah blah, you need to have
State and action.
and action.
Action is our action. That payload is gonna be our product.
Action that payload is gonna be our product. Yep.
Okay.
Cool. I think what I can do here is bring all of our functions and just make some changes there. Okay, so where's my?
It's in context, into global context code.
Oh, yeah, right here. Copy. Put it right over here. What am I looking at right now? Which one was that? Okay, what am I dispatching right now? Remove product. Okay, let's come back here to config slice. Am I doing anything on here? No. Why am I opening it? Config slice, remove. In this logic right here, remove product from cart. What am I doing inside my remove?
You're filtering and deleting.
Set cart products, basically cart products that filter, that's it. Basically, what I can do here, I can just copy this whole thing, okay, and remove. Inside my remove, state that cart products is equal to state that, put it like this, state that cart products that filter. All right, this filter is going to return a new array of objects, but it's not going to include action dot payload. Okay, action dot payload dot ID.
Product. Payload dot product. Dot ID.
No, this as we said, right? As we said,
Oh, action that payload is gonna be product itself. Okay.
product is a payload is product itself. Yes.
Actually, if a console.log action that payload, we will get the product. That's why it's product.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
If we console.log, we'll get the product because this product will be assigned to the payload.
So it's better to name it payload, right? Instead of product. Oh, it's actually never mind.
It
It's the
comes as
same.
a payload itself. Yes, we cannot do anything over there. It's-
Mm,
We have to use payload because we
mhm,
cannot change action.product.
mm.
If it was use reducer, then it's up to you, well, however you change it.
Okay. Yeah. That's the difference.
Okay, cool. So now action.payload.id, we're comparing it, and state.card products. So that's for removing it. What about increasing it? Increase card product count. Remove is done. Increase card product. Set card products, previous card products, and return previous card map, blah, blah, blah. What am I doing over there? If I'm increasing it, right? If I'm increasing it, basically, where am I? Emphasize. I have to find the item first. Or what I need to do here is maybe, right? Maybe increasing it right over here. Increase. Maybe I can do state that card products that for each for each product. For each product, if product.id is matching with action that payload that ID. If it is matching, then I would like to do product.count plus plus.
What about the other part of the object? Do you need to like destructure it first? Action that payload.
Which one can you say that again?
I mean, like you are increasing the count,
Uh-huh.
but what's gonna happen with the other part? But except count, you also have the name, the company, and something kind of like this. The fields.
That's the beauty of Immer.js. Under the hood, right? Under the hood, Redux.js toolkit implements Immer.js. It has Immer.js under the hood, so we don't have to worry about other things like product.name, etc. We can mutate our state variables just like this,
Mhm,
and everything else will be handled by the Redux toolkit.
mhm,
Okay, so increase card product and decrease should be exact same thing though, right?
mhm,
Decrease. State that card products are for each product. If product that ID matching that one, then we'll just decrease it.
mhm.
Oh my goodness, Maqsad, you're the only one left here.
The guys just left right now.
All right, so do you want to continue or you would like to do it in the next class?
Up to you. I can stay here if you want to finish it. If you have a time, maybe if you have some. If
Yeah,
you
let's
need to
try
play,
to
it's
finish it
okay.
there. I would like to see the screen right now, okay?
Okay,
Let's try to
sure.
finish it. So decrease card product count. I think we're done with the decreased product. Yeah, product. Removing is done. Yep, we're done with this single card product. And we started inside our card. Footer is done. Single card product is done. Let's go back to our app.jsx. And cart is done. Checkout model. Checkout model. Oh no, we don't have anything in the checkout model. Oh, we do have. Ooh, interesting. That's a lot of stuff. Okay. Grab this guy. Look right over here.
I guess you have on the footer the checkout, if I'm not mistaken.
We do? So
In the footer. Oh no. Or in the sidebar. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Footer has this guy right here.
Hmm.
Set show checkout. Dispatch, set show checkout. Of course, I have to remove this guy and get this from set show checkout. And I think I already implemented, right? Set show checkout. Show checkout. Yes, it's done.
But I still need it, I guess, since you have a ternary operator over there.
Oh, you're right. Oh, cart. Am I getting show cart?
Nope.
Cool. That is it for the checkout. FTG6. All right, cool. The routes starting from home now. About, we don't have anything in the about. Yep. Error page, nothing. Home. Home, we have home hero first. Home hero, we don't have anything. And featured products. Yep. Featured products right over here is loading. Come on. Is loading. Confiscated is loading. Set is loading. Featured products. The featured products is also coming from the state.
Hmm.
Ooh, we can see something now. So set is loading right here.
It's come from dispatch.
We need to dispatch. Set is loading. Okay, that's going to be true.
And
The
then
true action that payload. All right, so the true is action that payload. Set is loading. We don't need this guy anymore.
instead
our-
of the payload true, can you make it like a toggling the same? Like make it empty here is loading and over there it's just make it like is loading is equal,
Yeah,
not is loading.
we can definitely do that. Yes, so is loading. Remove that guy and inside our comp slice is loading. We can definitely do that. Add product to cart of use my customer. It's still complaining about some of the stuff. Yep, but it's not related to the is loading. Yep. So set is loading. We are inside featured product. You selected state that company state is loading. Featured products. Yep. Should dispatch. Yes. Dispatch state is loading. Cool. Is loading. If it's loading, then loading. If it's not, then single product. Okay. Now we do have single product. Let's jump to a single product. Oh, here it is. Now add product to cart. Now add product to cart, we do have inside our combo slice, right? Add product to cart. And we do have function for that. Add product to cart. What can we do here to make sure that we add our product to cart? We do the same thing, right? The only thing that we can do in terms of slice, of course, we have to search it first, right? So constant, we need to find if the product exists or not.
The find or filter?
No, we need to find it first.
Mhm.
Add product to cart right here. Constant current product. Instead of cart product, it's gonna be state.cart products. Fine. This is gonna be action
Payload.
payload dot ID. Now, if I have, right, if I have current product, if it doesn't find it, it will go to, if it's going to be undefined, and it will go to else. But if it does find it, add product to cart, which means that we do have this product inside our cart products, and that everything that inside our cart products has the count. So current product dot count plus plus. In the case of that we don't have existing cart, what we can do here is state that cart products that push. Okay. What we can do, push new object that will include action that payload. Okay, we need to include everything that's comes inside our product. At the same time, the count will be 1 initially.
You don't need to map it or for each the current product to in
No.
order to increase it.
This guy right here?
Yeah.
No, we don't have to map it. That's the beauty of Emerge.js. As soon as you find it, right? As soon as you find it, then we can just update that count for that current product.
That find will provide us the array, right? The array of the
This find will provide an object.
object.
Yes.
Array of object, right?
No, just object. It will
Just
just find,
object.
it will just find the specific matching ID with the current product and cart product, and it will just return that object.
And we will increase it.
Find,
Okay.
yeah, find index was the exact same thing, but in this case, it will return the number, right? Index of that product, a cart product inside this array of objects. But the find will return an object. If it doesn't find, it will return undefined.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're almost there, but something is still bothering this single cart product. Okay, single product. Featured products that map featured is done. Dispatch is done. Single product. Okay, so is still using this one right here. Okay, so this one needs to be wrapped inside our dispatch.
You didn't.
Yeah,
Yes.
did not. Come on. Use dispatch, this function, but get this function from conf slice. Ooh. Look at that. Yeah, so we still we haven't done in the
It's
products.
about the product. We didn't finish it the last time. That's why.
Oh
The
yeah.
component product thing.
Am I using this ID anywhere? No. I don't know why I imported that ID. Cool. So let's go back to our, I think we started from home and home hero, home featured products, yes. And from featured products, we're done single product and link. Yep, that's it. So let's go back to FJSX and do products.
But I guess we didn't even finish it the last time.
Now this is the finished product. I added some code in here. This one is basically finished product. Products right here. Single product dispatch. I need some component that has we're grabbing the products right here.
But it's cut products. We need the whole products.
Yes, exactly. So footer, single product, we're done with this one, right? Yeah. Oh, I should have double clicked the products. Okay, products. Selector. Dispatch. Cool. So products, dispatch, products that map, yep. Companies, filtered products, products that filter, yes. And the company name, all filtered products, blah, blah, blah. All of these guys will be the same. Set price input val. Since everything is staying inside this over here, we should be fine to have a use state for that. Handle product search. Yep, set search val, change company products, blah, blah, blah. Handle price change, single product. Yep, we have to go inside single product now. Oh. Cannot read properties of undefined. State, company state, products. Do I have products inside my state?
You have data, I guess.
Oh, I don't have products. Products is equal to data, right? Yeah, let's try this one. Yeah, here we go. All of these products are shown right now. I thought we had the products. Looks like we don't need this dispatch over here, right? Yeah, we're not using dispatch over here. Yeah, we don't have dispatch. We're not doing anything with the dispatch. Yep, single product is done. Yeah, product details. Product details. I feel like we need some stuff for here. All right. So single product. Was it single product? No. Products. For these products, we need this guy. And dispatch. Okay, cool. So I don't need this guy right here. Dispatch. Cool. Price format. Add to cart. On click. Dispatch. Add product to cart and provide the product. That product comes from copy slice. Yes. Dispatch. Yeah, we should be good. The product is the product. And this product is this product that we pass. See, it's adding it right now. If I keep clicking, it's adding it. If I open this one, and if I go down, oh, we have an increase and decrease problem. Increase and decrease. State that card product.
Do you need to return something?
Hmm. Do you think that because of the fact that we are using for each, it's not able to? Should I do like this? Let me try one thing. So without the if, okay? Current products data to cart products that find, it will find it and it will just increase it. Same thing for increasing it. It will find it and it will decrease it. Yeah, I don't have anything in my cart yet. So where's our buttons? Single cart product.
It's not here, I guess. Oh yeah, it's here.
Dispatch, here we have dispatch. Dispatch, increase cart product count, product. Was I supposed to put?
Did you import it?
Import dispatch?
Yeah, you didn't do it.
I did, yes. Oh,
The itself,
not
the
import
increasing
all
it.
of these. Yeah, I did not import all of these actions. Ooh. Yeah, all of these coming from Compass Slice. Yeah, well, I was thinking like, why it's not updating it? So let's try again with the previous. For each, it should find it and it should do a little trick. All right, cool. Yep, increasing it. Yep, decreasing it. All right. So I think one problem is over here is that state card product for each product. We need to check if action that the payload that the count is bigger than 1. In that case, decrease it. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, oh, maybe higher than 0, decrease it.
One is okay, I guess.
Yeah. But in the case of 0, right? In the case of 0, we need to make sure that it removes it. Right? As soon as we hit the 0, so that's the
What if
if
you
it's
will
big,
just leave it one and that we have a remove button that will delete it?
yes. So remove product from cart, and we will just pass action that payload. Okay. So as soon as I hit one more time, it should remove it, but somehow if action that one more time. Remove product from cart.
I guess maybe equals I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just leave it as it is, like this.
You
That
can make
logic,
it 1 instead of 0.
yeah, that logic can be implemented later. Right. That logic can be implemented later. What else do we have? I think we're pretty much
I
done.
try to click to the product itself
Set
to
cart
see
product.
the.
Can you say that again?
Can you click to the product itself to see the product details?
Oh, yeah, right. Yep. Let me try to see the bigger version.
If you click it, yes. It's not working.
No, something is not working. What do you think is that? Single product, right? Single product. Oh, the chevron right here. Dispatch. Wait a minute. No, sorry, I apologize. So this should not be a dispatch. This should be a link.
Link
And
to the product details, right?
yes, this too needs to go to what is it?
Yeah,
Slash? Yeah, so basically whatever we have in JSX right here, slash products, slash single, and ID. Right, slash products, slash single, and dynamically we have to put the ID. Oh, that's the ID I needed. That's why I need that ID. Here we go. All right, it's taking
Can
us
you click it in the featurette as well?
home. Okay, so after featured products, after 500 seconds, we're not dispatch set is loading. So config state is loading initially.
False.
Initially it's false, yes. And we're grabbing it from state that config state that is loading, yes. And we're checking. Is loading false, not false? Yeah, loading, show the loading. After 500, milliseconds, we're just changing it, right? Dispatching it back to set is loading. I think I'm worried about this set is loading. State that is loading. False, yeah. Change it back is loading. And then update the state. Now, when it comes over here,
Before was like true false with the action. Maybe that's why.
no, I don't think it's related to that one. So let me refresh the page. Now go back to home. Still loading. Use effect, set timeout. After 500 milliseconds, we are dispatching again. In this case, set we are grabbing set is loading. Yes, we're good. True. Action that payload. Look at that. Click it. Yes, add to cart. Check out products. Comfy. This the navbar is changing. If it's products, coming black. IKEA, Marcos, lady, price is 500. Yes, all. All right, looks like we're done. Are we doing anything with the set card products? I don't think so. We are not doing anything in terms of set card products.
It's actually
Yeah, we're adding the product to cart, removing from cart, increasing cart product count, decreasing cart product. Basically, set cart product was from use state, right? It's anytime we add something, we have to use the set cart product to update the cart product state variable. That was the only thing. Well, yeah, I mean, this is it. This is pretty much it. I mean, in here, everything is kept inside our compass slice. Yeah, that's it. done. Store. All of them are kept right here.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. That's it for today, Maqsad.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
I will
That
try to
was-
implement by myself now. Are you gonna push it to your GitHub, that code?
I will push the whole thing into this React with so that code is right over here. Okay, so this one right here, right here.
Okay.
It's gonna be inside here. I'm gonna push it
Yeah,
now.
I will try to it by myself, and if I will start, I will just see your code.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds
Mm.
great. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.